Every city has its shadows and secrets. The places no one will go, the things no one will talk about. But in the city of Godsfall, the shadows are of the darkest black. Grotesque monstrosities stalk the city at night, held at bay by a guild of monster hunters. Listen with caution, my friends, for the stories that you are about to hear are greatly disturbing. And pray to whatever God will hear you, that you are one of the lucky ones who can sleep at night without having to worry about what lurks beneath the city streets.
Welcome to Godsfall.
We left our last session off with you guys wrapping up your job for Professor Fimblethumb at the Godsfall Academy. And as I recall, Philippe Leroux had donned a disguise and ran off to a undisclosed place and time that had been slipped to him in a note. So we're going to start off first off in that place and time. A small alleyway where you meet a silver dragonborn in mage's robes, accompanied by two large half-orc bodyguards. And the silver dragonborn says, I heard that you were looking for a job.
I'm more so looking for a ring. If the job gets me that ring, then yeah, I'm looking for a job.
Says, I could find you this ring you seek. I have been told of it, and I do possess one. But I will give it to you in exchange for information. I am seeking the whereabouts of an ancient artifact that I believe has been brought to the city clandestinely. It is a strange idol with 3 eyes. And I believe it was brought here by a mercenary company in the employ of one Vanderhilt.
Should that name sound familiar?
Yes. That
Oh,
name-
Vanderhilt is one of the politicians, right?
Yes, Vanderhilt is the challenger to Flint
So-
Darkstone,
He's the one who was an adventurer.
and is now an anti-adventurer.
So there's a bunch of merchants bringing in this idol, and you want me to get it.
There's the mercenaries who have brought in the idol. I want information on its whereabouts.
So I'm a little hard of hearing. So, yeah.
Information on its whereabouts. If you can attain them from the mercenary company, who have been nothing but tight-lipped whenever I have tried to broach the subject, or if you can find some way to steal correspondence between them and Mr. Vanderhilt, I will give you the ring you seek.
Any leads on, like, the whereabouts of Mr. Vanderhilt, or where some of the mercenaries like to mingle, anything like that?
Mr. Vanderhilt spends most of his time in his campaign offices in the Central Ward. As for the mercenaries, I have no doubt that Vanderhilt only communicates with them via an intermediary. They are usually based in the dock ward.
His intermediary is
Yeah.
going to be in the dock ward?
The mercenaries. I apologize. I was
okay.
being unclear.
Well, in that case, I can find some information. I'm a busy guy, but we'll see. I'll see what I can do. You just need information, you said?
information.
It
We'll talk. And if the information is good, I'll give you the ring, and we'll talk about further business.
If I have information, how about I just tell you you have information, and then I tell you the information, and you give me the ring when I tell you the information, and then we go our separate ways. Because I'm not exactly just going to give you the information when I got it, and you just walk away with the ring.
Oh, no, I was planning on giving you the ring, but if you prove useful to me, I might have further work for you if you're interested.
That's possible, but again, why don't you just bring the ring after I let you know that I've got information? Because as you can tell, criminals don't necessarily trust criminals because we like to do criminal shit.
That's perfectly reasonable, I
Cool.
suppose.
Thought so.
Rational, if nothing else.
Thank you. And he walks away.
Alright. Alright, now, at this point, many of you have sat down to sleep. Laid down to sleep, I should say. And this would include Einmore. But Einmore Moonshadow, when you lay down to sleep, you experience a dream. It is a variant of a dream you've had before. You awaken in a large library, and you are sitting on the opposite side of a desk. On opposite from you is a elf in a very fine suit with a pair of pince-nez glasses. His slick silver hair tied back into a knot. And he looks at you with very pale steel gray eyes, and he says, "My apprentice, I trust you have made it to Godsfall safely."
Yeah. I have. I met some people. I helped a professor there.
A professor at
Yeah.
the academy?
Yes.
Ah, interesting. They are very decent at the academy. Decent people, decent grasp of magic. Not quite rivaling some of the greats that I have known over my life, but still, many people who have come out of that academy have gone on to great things.
I met someone from the academy. He seems like a okay person, if awkward at most.
Alright. And he says, well, many mages, especially human ones, can be very awkward. A life of study does not really prepare one for the social graces of meeting new people. As I am sure, I have no doubt shown my own failings in this regard to you at several points. Although you would think that after 1,000 years one would be able to learn such things, but sometimes the finer points still elude me.
I've been doing as you asked.
Alright.
I've been trying to do good, but it's still there.
I see. Have you found any clues as to the whereabouts of the perpetrators?
No, it consumes me. I barely sleep at night. It's all I think about.
I see. I cannot protect. You probably would not consider me a credible source of advice in this regard, having lived as long as I have had and seen so many of my apprentices perish before me in horrible, violent ways. All I can say is that the pain will never lessen, but you will be able to manage it better. It is not an easy path that you walk, especially with the power you have and the abilities that you have been honing.
I'm just so angry all the time.
I can't imagine. I too was quite angry when I lost my twin. I cannot say that it is the same as losing one's parents before their time. but it is still a wound that I bear even to this day.
Does the anger ever leave?
No. But I learned to manage it, hone it, use it not as a cleansing fire, but rather as a fine scalpel to exorcise the tumors of evil in the world.
I don't think that'll be enough.
Sometimes I wonder that myself. Has what I've been doing these past 1,000 years been enough? Can the abilities of mortals ever be enough to destroy the forces of evil? Especially when so many mortals are keen on seeking out corruption and evil. In any case, the best thing for you is to try and use your anger as productively as possible.
I'm trying. I'm trying with everything I have.
Do, however, try and maintain some sort of connection with people. These new people you have met. Perhaps you could form some bonds with them. I cannot say what that those kind of bonds could come from, having never met these people, but you do need some influence to temper that rage. In the meantime, keep your ear to the ground and keep yourself wary. There are things afoot in Godsfall. And if somebody stole that idol right from under our noses, there could be more people after the exact same thing. Is not a situation that will be easy to resolve.
I'll always do what you say, no matter what.
There will come a time when you will know better than I what to do. And I look forward to that day, because it will mean that you can truly be an adult and make your way in the world. And that is all that a teacher can ask for. In the meantime, get yourself some rest and see what you can accomplish in this city.
I will.
Alright? And you sleep peacefully for the rest of the night. Dreams do not assail you terribly. Nightmares that you have had for weeks and weeks leave you alone, at least for tonight. And you awaken in the morning refreshed, but not healed. Alright. At this point, I'll turn it over to the rest of the party. It is the next morning after your job. What are you all going to do today? You still have, or at least somebody should still have, the job posting from the second job posting.
Charles has that.
Charles does have that. And in the morning, after Matilda has brought you breakfast, Charles says, "Good morning, sir. I have for you the other job posting, if you're interested."
I'm going to take the job posting from him and give him Archibald's address and tell him, can you go fetch him?
And he says, I shall do so. And he bows and leaves you to your breakfast.
If I recall, wasn't everyone going to meet
At noon.
at noon at...
The Bloody Town.
No.
No, at Arch...
Yeah, it's your place, right?
yeah, at my place, yeah. Everyone's meeting there.
Okay.
All right.
That changes nothing. I still send Charles.
Yeah. He's obviously
I don't...
forgotten.
Spoiler, Charles is getting his cardio today.
Gotta get them steps in.
All right. So Archibald, you awaken in the morning, and you hear a knock at the door of your ancient mansion.
Richard,
He says, "Yes,"
have you slept at all?
and let me check. And he is silent for a couple of minutes. He says, "Was the sun up the last time you talked to me?"
No, it was very much down, I believe.
Then no.
Excellent. Okay. I'll just put on trousers and just a loose fitting shirt, and I will go to answer the door.
All right. So you answer the door, and Charles is standing before you, and he says, "Sir Archibald Hellgate."
Look around. Yes, that is I.
We met at the Bloody Talon. You went on a job with my master, Einor Moonshadow.
Yes. What can I help you with?
And he says, my master has given me the second job posting, and he requests that you meet with him at your earliest convenience.
Yes, I shall send him. Could you return a missive for me?
And he nods.
Just wait a moment. I'll go in. I will write something on a piece of paper, and I will come back, and I will hand it to him, folded up, with my family seal on it.
All right.
Take this back to your master.
All right.
He shall know what to do with it.
All right. And Charles says, "Very well, sir. A pleasant morning to you."
And you.
And in a little while, Charles returns to your temporary lodgings, Einor, and he comes before you, and he has the sealed letter, and he says, Lord Archibald Hellgate sends this, has sent a missive in response.
We're going to say that I'm working out. I'm going to tell Charles to read it for me.
All right. Charles opens the seal and opens the letter. What does it say?
It is my address.
And he says, Sir, sir, it is simply his address.
Okay. If you can, try to find Cal. Something, that's all I know.
Cal something.
And the little awkward mage.
The little awkward mage. I believe I remember who you are referring to. I shall inquire for them at the Bloody Talon.
Oh, if you find a dwarf as well, but if you run across the halfling, avoid him. Do not tell him where we are. He never knows.
I will endeavor to keep it secret as best I can.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So after Charles makes his way to the Bloody Tavern, and after a few conversations with Sebastian, he is able, at the very least, to gather the names and whereabouts of Cal, also known as Lady Humpty Toonlin, and Edwin Monte. And he first of all, he makes his way towards your place of residence, Cal, and your home is not as empty as the Hellgate Manor. So who opens the door when Charles knocks?
A butler.
All right, a butler. And so Charles says, requests to speak to Lady Cal.
I'm outside.
Yeah.
I got up early and I went outside to train. So he's gonna have to either go around there or wait while I get fetched.
All right. So the butler leads Charles, because as Charles insists, he has other people to talk to today, and to give the summons to, and he appears before you and says, Lady Huntington Wit, my master Einmar Moonshadow, and your friend Lord Alsherbald Hellgate request your presence at the Hellgate Manor.
What time is it at this point?
We're gonna say, when do you normally get up, Einor?
8.
8. All right. So we'll say it's around 10 in the morning now, having run back and forth a bit.
We're gonna meet at Archie's in, 2 hours almost. It's almost noon. Oh, I'm a mess right now. I gotta go straighten up, get some breakfast. I will do the best I can, but do you have an address?
He says, I'm sorry, I thought you were familiar with the Hellgate Manor.
I'm just out of town somewhere.
Is the Hellgate Manor far out of town, or is it?
No.
Oh.
He's asking me to go to his place.
No, he's asking you to go to the Hellgate
The
Manor.
Hellgate, yeah. Archie's house.
Archie's house.
Well, then I knew that already.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
This is just a reminder to everyone besides Zach.
Yeah.
I would assume the Hellgate Manor is in kind of like the upper quarters, like a bit wealthier.
We're just doing this.
Yeah, see, it's actually not that far from the Huntington Witt estate.
I was gonna say they're probably relative neighbors.
Yes.
It's just 3 houses down,
Everyone can
actually.
do it eventually.
And to be completely and totally fair, Einroar is probably staying somewhere in the upper ward at like a big fancy ritzy hotel.
Yeah.
Charles, come with me. And I put my hand in his shoulder
Uh-huh.
and I bring him inside.
And you are just tall enough to be able to do that, and it's not usual that a human can do that to him, and he's a little bit taken aback.
And I walk him in to the dining room where there's like a huge spread. Have a seat.
And he says, "Thank you, madam. I must confess though that I have already broken my fast."
Oh, well, would you like some refreshment? Because you seem to be running all over to tell us about a meeting that we already know about.
Some cool water would be very nice. If you
I
could have it.
will see to it that the kitchen brings you some.
Thank you very much. All right.
And then I eat my breakfast and go to get ready.
All right. Eventually, the kitchen brings Charles his glass of water. He takes his time enjoying it, but then he's very quick to get out the door, make his way over to Edwin's apartment, which is, I would assume, on a different side of town, maybe
Probably.
closer to the central ward, maybe, so that you're close to the school, or in the lower ward.
Probably the lower wards because it's cheaper.
Yes. Lower ward.
Yeah.
Charles knocks on the door to your apartment. You answer it, I assume?
I answer through the door. Who is it?
And it says, Edwin Monty,
Yes.
this is Charles, the valet of Einmore Moonshadow. I believe you are acquainted. You did perform a job together last night.
Yeah. We hung out yesterday. Did some work.
My lord Einmore Moonshadow requests your presence at the Hellgate Manor at noon.
Right. I have the note. Yeah. Well, supposed to be there. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and so meeting up with Dominic is a little different, because what Charles does is, having heard that you are out and about in the streets, usually offering to fix things for people for a small fee.
Right. Today he's looking for like a wholesaler of metal and metals and stone and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I assume you've got some sort of booth set up in the lower ward market or something.
Not today. He
Yeah.
usually just finds a tavern to sit in and fix stuff there.
All right, so he begins checking several of the taverns. Let's see how many it takes before he finds you, because I need to roll something. We'll say D10. That would be nice. There's got to be a lot of taverns. So he actually gets you on the second try, not the first.
He's quite lucky.
Yes, he is.
Somebody guess
Normally
he's,
that would not be a lucky roll, a 2 on a D10.
Take it he's gonna just interrupt my breakfast then or something.
Yeah, he's going to wait patiently while you finish eating, and then he's going to say, Sir Dominic?
So he's gonna look up like a leg of lamb in his hand, like, what do you want?
My master, Einwar Moonshadow, requests your presence at the Hellgate Manor at noon today.
Yeah, I'm already going there at noon.
Very well, sir.
Okay.
All right. And so he leaves and makes his way back to the Moonshadow, your current lodgings, the hotel in the upper ward. And I assume he finds you preparing to meet with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, you all make your way to the Hellgate Manor. You arrive each at your own time. Einmore, you are of course accompanied by both Charles and Matilda.
Yeah, when I get off, I'm going to send Matilda out with a list of things to get.
All right. And what's on this list of things?
Tinkerer's kit, a smithing tool, jewelry tools, and one spell scroll, and some more healing pots.
All right. And she nods and goes out.
I have a picture of the Hellgate estate. If everyone...
I would like to see that.
How tall is Charles?
Look at it.
Charles, I want to say he's a bit short for an half-orc in that he's only around 6 feet. I assumed you were kind of tall.
No. I'm like 5'4", but I can still reach up.
Okay, I
confused.
assume this. For some reason, I had pictured you as kind of like almost in some ways a Brienne of Tarth kind of deal, where you're like this tall Amazonian kind of deal.
Nope, just
And that's my fault.
kind of average height.
Yeah, I'll have to
Include all this wonderful stuff.
Include all this wonderful stuff about how I screwed up your height.
That's okay.
All right. So you do meet at the estate. It is an ancient building, weathered. It is dark and very gloomy, mostly because only a few of the rooms are currently being inhabited. There is, of course, the pool on the outside in the courtyard, and the main building of the manor itself is built from stone and has ivy growing on it. So it's definitely a building that has seen better days, but it stands here as a mark of the past of the city of Godsfall, and it has been a constant for most of the city's existence.
Is it a nice, like, upkept, well upkept?
No.
Okay.
How long does it look like it's been in disrepair? Like, when did you stop taking care of it, Dan?
Probably... you probably couldn't just look at it and tell.
No.
I mean, you can see that it's in disrepair, but it still looks and holds the look that it would need to stay in the upper corner. It's not like the city's coming over going, mow your fucking lawn.
it still meets all the homeowners association rules.
That's exactly right. It still meets all the homeowner association rules, or they just don't deal with the homeowner association. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there before the homeowners association,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Now, did you have did your entire family live on the estate at one point in time?
You know
or-
who'd be great to ask?
Alex?
Archie.
Archie. Yeah.
Archie,
I
Archie.
Here, let me just read my backstory to you.
One by one, you arrive at the mansion. Archibald greets you in the door, leads you into. You lead them into
Probably like the main hall.
the main hall.
Like when you come in, it's dusty. There's what windows are on the outside are largely covered with sheets or cloth or something to keep the light out. And in the middle of the house, there's just a large ballroom. It makes up a majority of the house. And there's lines of tables. There's a stage, but the floor is cracked and broken, and it just looks like he might be living in an abandoned house. But he has something cooking in the kitchen. But he is just wearing trousers and a very large shirt. He's not dressed in any formal way.
Einor looks disgusted.
Fair. I've been cooking all morning. I'm not particularly good at it. Should you want anything for
No.
breakfast?
No. No.
No, thank you. I had a fine meal. I would like to say, Archie and Einrohr, we did get off to a rough start. I apologize. I'm not generally too fond of those who reside in the upper quarter. When you live on the streets for as long as I had to before I went away from Godsfall, you end up with a distaste for those of means, and I let that affect our working relationship.
I appreciate all you did yesterday.
Thank you, and you as well.
And I'll just stumble into my kitchen, and I'll come out with just bread and burned meat.
Burnt meat?
Bird meat or
bird?
burdened meat?
Both.
Or burned bird meat?
Both.
Burnt bird meat.
Burnt bird meat.
It's a delicacy that nobody understands why anyone eats, but everyone's too cool to question.
Yeah. Why are we eating pheasant? I kind of put it on the table next to my water, and I'll stand near where we'd walked in, and I'll yell, Richard, I've made breakfast.
And Richard says, "I'll be down in a little bit."
Excellent. It's on the stove. I think I've turned it off.
Did we all hear Richard?
You do all hear Richard.
Okay,
I
cool.
was thinking the same thing.
Do I know
Like
who
this is a Fight
Richard
Club.
is?
You might, if. How long have you and Richard been friends, Archibald?
Whole lives.
All right.
Very, very long time.
So, Richard, you would know as the son of a prominent businessman, a butcher, I think specifically, who wanted to be an artist and who befriended Archie at a very young age. And he is, as you recall, not very good at the whole art thing. But he comes downstairs, and he is also disheveled, and there is paint of various colors on his sleeves and on his hand, and his he's got bags under his eyes. It looks like he hasn't slept for days. His hair is all a mess. But he tried very hard to tie it up behind him, very nice and neat. And he comes downstairs. And he says, "Oh, did you tell me we were having guests yesterday?"
I could have sworn maybe. No, I told you I made some companions. I forgot to tell you they were coming.
Oh,
Frankly, I didn't think they'd show up.
okay. I wanted to make sure I hadn't.
Come down naked?
Yeah.
I nearly did. But it's fine. You wear the mark of a genius.
I hope so. And you see him kind of straightening his hair. He says, "Oh, Cal.
Richard, how are you?
Good. I've been painting a lot.
I can see.
Yes. It's I think I'm close to a breakthrough, honestly. I have really felt this new painting will come together in a very interesting way, and I hope this could be my introduction to the local art world.
Well, you have a patron. That's a good start.
Yes, it's always it's a good start, but I could never fully rely on Archie. I owe him too much. I want to be able to sell some of my things to a gallery, if only for some small way that I could repay him.
He's also very, very behind on his rent. And I look at him with like a half smile.
I am working on that. I swear I am.
What do you paint? Is it landscapes, scenery? Is it
The suffering
human?
the suffering of all the races of the world.
The suffering of all the races at once?
Well, not at once. I mainly focus on humanity. You paint what you know.
That is one race.
Yes. But humanoids in general, Sarah Common, I need to eat something. And he just walks into the kitchen.
You
I've
walk
been in the
past him,
kitchen
I
eating.
clearly give him more than enough
Right,
space.
I'm already in there,
Alright.
and I'm like,
Me?
burn.
No,
Oh,
Richard.
Richard.
Yep.
I made tiny little sandwiches. That's great.
Cutting squares.
Yeah.
I look back. What is it? I look back at Edwin, and I think to myself, I guess I'm not that bad of a cook because someone else is eating it.
It's delicious.
Huh. Room for improvement, I guess. So we've gathered here not for a brunch social. We were looking to check out that whether or not there are children, in fact, dressing up as skeletons and dancing around graveyards, or perhaps a witch coven, or just the fever dreams of people who have nothing better to do. Is that, in fact, what we're doing?
That, in fact, is. No matter how much I like brunch, maybe we should all get started.
I'm gonna clap my hands, summon Charles, and tell him to read off the flyer
Right.
poster.
All right, so Charles clears his throat and he says, "Shapes in the graveyard."
I'll interrupt him. Charlotte Reinheld in the upper ward. Thank you, Charles.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
And he's,
We are due to speak with her. She says they come out at night, scare her and her child.
Charles, do not sit down.
and Charles is just standing there very awkwardly.
Good boy.
And he just stands there.
Just staring.
Yeah, no, just hands folded, ready to do whatever else is necessary.
I'll need a moment to dress, bring my armor back together, all these things. Edwin,
Yes.
it's fine, bring the food.
Awesome.
And Dominic, and I just point at the eastern wall. Just beyond that wall is where a forge once stood, should you wish to see it.
So, Dom's gonna look like, all right, where's the door then?
Where you came in from.
Only one?
Simply the one,
Ah, we're gonna have to fix that.
perhaps. And Edwin, I should show you to my sister's room. You may peruse her library. If you find anything useful while I dress, keep it short, gentlemen. We have work to do. Godsfall is in danger every day. It's our job to keep it safe.
I'd look at the library.
I do have a question for you before you head to the library.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across in the academy book from certain bards who keep their practice secret and are rather decent at swordplay?
Would I have known this?
Make an intelligence check.
Straight intelligence.
History if you want.
If it's magical, could I use Arcana, maybe?
Uh,
I'm fine with
for
history.
an order of bards, it will be history.
Nope.
No.
That one.
No, you have no idea. You've never heard of this before.
Nope. Never heard of bards.
No.
Music isn't really.
No
my
College
thing.
of Swords. You haven't heard of?
No, it's not.
They
Not stuff that I've really
they keep
perused
to,
into.
yeah, they keep to themselves quite a bit.
I'd be interested in reading it if you would have a copy of that.
That's why I asked you if you knew of a copy.
Oh,
because
no, sorry.
I would like to peruse that.
Can I do a history check to see if I know?
Yeah, you may.
Mm-hmm. 21.
All right.
Nope, 20. Soft 20.
All right. So yeah, you have heard of the Bard College of Swords. That they and again they do keep themselves rather secret, but they're rather famous for producing several heroes of legend who went off and slew great dragons. And there was a time where several of their numbers were counted among the monster hunters in Godsfall.
Okay.
Do I know anything about what's going on with Archie's sister?
You know that, I mean, it has just been a constant of your knowledge of the Hellgates that the various members of the Hellgate family move all over the place. The Hellgates are actually a very far-flung family. They have, Archie has cousins traveling different parts of not only the Selden Republics, but the Forgotten Kingdoms of the Elves, the Western Isles, places all over the world. And it is quite common for one or more, and it was quite common for one or more of the Hellgates, even of the local branch, to be absent
Okay.
quite frequently. But this is probably the first time you've been in Hellgate Manor in a while, so the state of things might,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Alright.
I'm gonna.
My
I'm
secret
gonna.
plan.
Charles is still with me, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him to walk around the house.
Alright. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to look for?
Nope.
Sir?
Just taking anything in general.
Alright.
Anything that points out, tell me about it.
Alright. So,
Actually, yes, there is.
yes?
I'm going to ask him to look for the McGucky we talk about.
Oh, yes, the thing that I kind of hinted at earlier when
Yeah.
I talked about the item.
Yeah.
Yes. So he will look around the house, see if he can find anything that would lead him towards it.
And while he's gone, I'm going to pull Philip to the side.
Mhm.
Hey, Philip.
Philippe?
Philip. Them bards you asked about, I know about them.
I'm sorry. Who are you trying to address?
You, Philip.
No idea who that is.
Very well. I'll walk away.
Okay. So Edwin, you go up to the library to peruse it.
Yep.
All right. Give me just.
I actually, since it's going to take him a while to put armor on, I want to cast Detect Magic.
You run it to cast
Like
attack
that,
magic. All right. So there doesn't appear to be anything magical in the library. The
Okay.
books are average books. They don't seem to be spell books, but that doesn't surprise you. A mage rarely leaves their spell
Right.
book just lying around. The books, there are several books on the lore of different monsters. A few on mythology, morphology of different species, a history of. There's a specific book dedicated entirely to a history of the rise of dragons and their eventual decline.
I would like to look at that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that one is very interesting. It talks about how dragons were among the first mortal races created by the gods. They were specifically created by the goddess Io, who was the goddess of storms. And in that way, they almost embody the natural fury of the world. Hence, there are many different types of breath weapons. And it talks about their eventual decline as they fought a long-standing war that nearly wiped out the giants, but where they experienced great tragedies themselves. The chromatic and metallic split that happened later on also dramatically reduced their population, and now dragons are increasingly rare. But Dragonborn are the predominant race on the Western Isles, and they are known for being merchants, traders, and adventurers. And a few clans are known also for piracy.
Philippe is trying to find a mirror.
A mirror.
Yeah.
Also, while I'm in there, I don't want to fix anything like that's broken, that's big, but like small cracks and stuff. I cast mending.
Okay.
Especially like bookcases and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you find, like, you're looking around, you see there's a chair with a wobbly leg,
Right.
you cast mending, you find a
I don't want to fix anything noticeably broken because I want him to see that I'm fixing the stuff that's broken.
Yeah. So, Philippe, you're looking for a mirror.
Yeah.
You find one in the washroom.
He just looks, and he's wearing like a white tunic with like the kind of strings that hold it up.
Uh-huh.
He is just checking his hair.
Making sure that there's no more soot left in it.
Yeah, he's making sure like behind his ears there isn't any soot, nothing in his hair, that it's the blonde that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he just looks, makes sure his outfit looks the way it's supposed to, brushes some dust off his shoulder, and walks out. Steals a bar of soap. No.
All right.
So, you think there's soap?
I was
So-
really hoping Richard wasn't real.
Einor.
Yes.
A little while later, Charles walks back, and he seems visibly disturbed. And he says, "Sir, if I may talk to you a moment." And he says, "I walked around the house. I found a door into the basement. The cellar seemed fairly normal, but when I pressed my hand up against one of the walls, I swear I heard voices, and they didn't say anything in any language I could recognize, and they didn't sound human."
He looks upset.
He looks very disturbed. He says, I think there's something very wrong in this house. I don't know how else to explain it. I tried to find any clues of the artifact that you're searching for, but I found none. The only that disturbing sound was the only thing that I could find.
I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder in a very soft voice and say, "Charles, thank you. Go back to the hotel and rest."
And he nods. He says, and then he turns to you and says, "Sir, I know that you are a warrior and a mage of great accomplishment, but please be careful."
I will. You go rest, Charles. Thank you.
Have I finished donning my armor?
Yes, you have.
Okay. Same clothes as the day before, lightly washed. They smell a little bit.
My coat is spotless.
Yeah.
Everything else is different,
Yeah.
except for the armor.
Shall we be on our way then? Ooh, Dominica's checking out.
Yeah, he's just out there kicking stuff around, loudly grumbling like, it's no more than a campfire, really. You know,
Yeah.
he's probably gonna still be out there while your guys getting ready, just completely forgotten about you while he's out there measuring this, kicking stuff here. You know, a couple other strange things. You know, he licks a stone here and there. You know, gonna get a real feel for this place.
I'm on, because Philippe would have gotten bored with everybody just doing their stuff, and he would have walked out and seen, like maybe spied on Dominic a little bit. Can I have tried to sneak up on Dominic?
Sure. Give me a stealth check, and we'll have this be opposed by your passive perception, Dominic, since you are preoccupied with swearing at dirt.
He hates dirt.
10?
Very dwarven.
A 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 14.
Yeah.
So you're attempting to sort of sneak up on him, and Dominic, you see him coming a mile away.
As soon as he gets like real close, I want to just like swirl around into his face, like,
Yeah.
yes!
Dominic, I actually quite like you out of our companions that we have here. You've got a bit of the a bit of an air for life. I appreciate that. You seem to enjoy adventure, and you seem to seek out enjoyment wherever we are.
Alright, life's no fun if you're only hammering away all day.
Agreed.
You gotta have a bit of something.
We should head back inside to see if everybody else is ready, so we can check out those
Is it
ghouls.
time already?
Yes.
Like, back to the side job then.
I don't think it takes that long to put on armor.
You never know. These humans, I wouldn't trust them around it.
That's slightly racist, but okay.
Where were you when you were talking to Charles?
I'll put him to the side, probably towards the door to make sure he left.
Would I have overheard any of that?
I'll say yes because I wasn't like trying to keep it a secret.
Okay, so you hear this, and actually give me an intelligence check. This is straight intelligence, just sort of memory deal.
12.
That's enough. It wasn't very high. It was like DC 10.
I laughed because I forgot how low my intelligence was, but continue.
It's strange because it's a very faint memory, but you recall being a child and being forced to come to the Hellgate Manor for some function or another, and just wandering the house for lack of anything better to do, finding your way to the cellar, and immediately, for no rational reason, because the cellar wasn't even empty. People were coming up and down, getting wine bottles and things, but for some irrational reason, part of your brain decided that there was something wrong nearby. And yet, somehow, it also felt as if there was a voice calling to you that you had known your whole life. But the effect was kind of still very unnerving to you, so you ended up running upstairs as soon as you could.
Okay. Alright.
Well, if everybody's ready, we can find our way to the graveyard, beat up some juveniles, and be on our way.
If all of this is happening at night, shouldn't we go at night? Closer to night.
If we go during the day, we'll have full light to investigate the area, find footprints, disturbed graves, things of the matter. And if we went at night, we'd be there on their territory. At least during the day, we might have a drop on the alleged creatures.
Is Matilda back yet?
Matilda does eventually come back, and she has all the items that you asked her to retrieve.
I want to take the spell scroll
Yeah.
and tell her to go back to the hotel and check on Charles.
All right, and she nods, and then she says, "Is there something wrong with him?"
we'll speak about this tonight.
And she says, understood. And she leaves and goes back to the toad hill.
I give the spell scroll to Edwin.
What's the spell scroll of?
Hold person.
Awesome. I like spell scrolls. Thank you. Why are you giving this to me?
I understand that that's a powerful spell, and I was once a student myself. I understand the need to keep items. I don't understand being poor, but I understand.
Yeah, that comes and goes.
Yeah.
So, you're going to the graveyard in the day.
Should we go speak with Charlotte Reinhold?
Renhold.
Renhold.
Probably best if we do.
All right. So the Renholds, again, this is a job here in the upper quarter, so it's not the upper ward, so it's not that far from the Hellgate Manor. And you eventually arrive at the Renhold's door. When you knock on the door, it is answered by a young valet who asks, "Yes, who might you be?"
Well, my name is Philippe Leroux, and we are all from the Monster Hunters Union, and we've heard that there are possibly ghouls in the graveyard that are spooking your master and her son.
And he says, I think you may be mistaken. It is my mistress, Lady Charlotte, who has seen these, and it is her younger daughter Cynthia who initially saw them. But I'll let you in to speak to the lady. Her son Alistair is much older. He has not seen anything. And
I apologize. It was such a nice house. I thought that possibly the person answering the door could not be one of the owners or regular inhabitants.
And he says, I mean, I am simply a valet. But I will lead you inside.
Thank you. Start walking in.
You said master, it's mistress, or it's a woman.
Ah.
And it was the daughter, not the son.
To be fair, the job posting did get taken down by somebody quite quickly.
Yeah. And you are led into a sunny, great room, and eventually a middle-aged woman in a very fancy dress comes down the stairs and says, "You're from the Monster Hunters Union."
We are. I am Philippe. This is Archie, Cal, Einroar, Edwin, and Dominic.
And she says, "Excellent. I am Lady Charlotte Redhall. I am managing I manage the Redhall estate after the death of my husband. I should explain to you about what has happened. My daughter.
How recently did her husband pass?
It wouldn't have. It would have been going on a couple of years now.
Okay. All right. It wasn't a fairly recent event.
No, it wasn't a fairly recent event.
Okay.
She said,
It's just something I would kind of probably know, just being a fair neighbor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her name is, and she says, "I believe I've seen the two of you around before. If I'm not mistaken, you are Lord Huntington Witt's daughter, correct?"
Lady Calypso Huntington Witt? Yes, absolutely.
And she says, yes, I knew I recognized you."
It's lovely to meet you.
And she says, "Likewise. And you are, if I am not mistaken, you are young Archie Hellgate."
Yes. Lady Charlotte, it's excellent to be in your presence again, but we have business to attend to.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Well, thank you for the pleasantries.
I should get to the Grizzly Manor. And she leads you to the back, to a back window, and she points out, and up on the hill there is a small graveyard. She says that graveyard holds the graves of many former members of the Renholt family, as well as several of our neighbors' families as well. And no one has, my daughter was the first one, young Cynthia. She is no more than she's no more than 10 years of age, and she claimed that at night she could see, by the light of the moon, people moving through the dark, seeming to be carrying large sacks around in the graveyard.
Lady Charlotte, is this something that you have witnessed?
I have.
So this isn't just a child's imagination playing tricks on her.
She says, it is not. That was my first. That was my first instinct as well. But I have seen it my own myself with my own eyes. Only my son. He's not too far. He's not too far off of an age of you. I believe you remember him, Alistair. He insists there's nothing to do. There's no problem with it.
Perhaps it's foolish wisdom. I believe, and I kind of look back at everybody, I believe we should talk with Cynthia and Alistair.
Is there a particular time of night that you've seen them, or just any time?
She says, it is after an hour after sundown, almost exactly.
Can I do an Arcana check to see if this sounds like anything I heard of before in my studies?
Yeah.
Is there a specific area of the graveyard that you see them?
And she says, no, they are. I have seen them at different parts all over the area. So what did you get?
18.
18. All right. So with an 18, there are two things you can think of. The idea that they're carrying around sacks leads you to the idea that these must be, at the very least, somewhat intelligent if they're undead. So it could be ghouls or ghasts harvesting bodies from a graveyard. That's not uncommon. Waiting an hour after sundown does not in your mind seem like a ritual thing so much as just having the guarantee of darkness on the back.
Okay, I'm going to ask him, was the bag see-through as well, like the ghouls, or not the ghouls, like the things you see?
She says, no, it was just dark. You must understand, I've been able to see silhouettes. That's all. And it has only ever been two figures, both of them carrying a large bag.
Okay. And they come every night?
Every night.
I'm going to walk over to Dominic, and I'm going to say, fairly quietly, just kind of enough so that he could hear, Dominic, I've not had the company of Alistair in quite some time, and to be frank, nor do I remember him well. Perhaps you and Philippe should go and talk with him. I feel if he had anything to hide, the two of you have your specific ways of heaving yourselves onto others.
He's gonna look at you like, what are you suggesting I do?
I'm suggesting you and Philippe go up
And heave ourselves onto someone?
Perhaps that was too subtle. Just have a conversation with the Lord Alistair.
He's gonna look at you, give you a little wink. I'm like, I think I know what you mean.
I'll pat you on the shoulder. I don't think you do. And I'll turn and walk.
I'm going to ask, who opened the door?
A valet. He did not give his name.
Okay. Who are we talking to now?
That would be
Lady Charlotte.
Lady Charlotte.
I'm going to ask her to show me where she's seen them.
She points at different points in the graveyard, and it seems to you that it's concentrated in what looks like in one area, and if you were going to guess, it might be newer bodies that are being taken out.
I'm going to investigate each area.
Yeah, how far away is the graveyard from the house?
It is close enough that it is like. I'm trying to come up with a mental picture of the distance in
Like,
my head.
is it for us like from here to, this next apartment building?
Yeah,
Close,
I would say about that.
So a couple hundred feet, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we leave, I do think we should talk to these kids.
How can I reach these kids?
Like, before we head out, I think we should all head out
Yeah.
there together. I would specifically like to see the graveyard, but I do think we should talk to some of these kids.
I'm fine with it.
Lady Charlotte, we should like to talk to your children very briefly, just to get their accounts. If your son does not believe, perhaps he knows something we don't, and if your daughter does, perhaps she can tell us something you have missed. Two of my associates are on their way now to speak with Alistair. If you could just take us to Cynthia.
And she says, "Oh yes, I'll take you there right away." And she takes you down the hall, upstairs down the hall, and she knocks on the door. And she says, "Cynthia, some friends are. There are some people here who I'd like you to talk to. They're here about the people in the graveyard." And the door slowly opens, and there is a small child. Like I said, like Charlotte said, she appears to be 10 years of age. And Cecilia says, "Are they monster hunters?" And Charlotte says, "Yes, and they want to talk to you. Now, do you remember Archie Hellgate?" And she says, "No." And she says, "That's fine. You were very little the last time you saw him." She says, "But his family has been here just as long as ours has, if not longer. You can feel free to trust him and his friends."
The door open?
Yeah.
I'll look over. Who's current with who's
I'm
with
with
us
them.
right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Kind
kind
of
of.
say if you're with them, because the listeners can't hear you raise your hands.
No, I'm with you.
Unless you raise them really hard. Snap.
Moon Shadow is with him.
Oh, Cal is there.
All right.
Is this room on the first floor or the second floor?
This is on the second.
I'm gonna stand by the window to look out at the see if I can see anything in the graveyard.
All right. So looking out at the graveyard from the second story window, you do see you have a better view of it. So it makes sense why Cynthia would be the first person to see it. And you do think you can see, but you had to get closer to make sure. But you do think you can see like some freshly tilled ground.
Okay.
In one section of the graveyard.
All right.
I'm going to walk around her room, just look for anything that stands out, or
It's-
anything that shouldn't be there.
Well, it's a fairly normal little girl's room. She appears to be very much into horses in an almost stereotypical fashion. She's got an old rocking horse from when she was a kid, and she's got paintings of horses on the wall. And there is a portrait of her on top of a pony, and she's just got the biggest smile. And so it looks like she was learning to ride for the first time.
I want to look over at Cal.
Is that your horse?
and she said, mm-hmm. He's in the stables out back. He's
It's
very-
lovely. I love to go horse riding.
And she says, isn't it just the best?
It's amazing. Absolutely. It's like flying.
And she says, yes it is. She says,
The figures at night. Cynthia, tell us about them.
she says, she said, and she just gets this really dark look in her face, and she says, I see them out in the window. They come out of one of the buildings. I think my mother called it a mausoleum.
A mausoleum.
A mausoleum, yes. And then they dig. They start digging in the graveyard, and they take things out of the holes they dig and put them in bags. And I think what they're taking out is people. And she says, then they go back into one of the
Mausoleums?
mausoleums.
Right. Can you join my friend there at the window and point to him which mausoleum?
And she says, and she goes and she points to one, and you can tell that it's a mausoleum that's actually rather close to the house.
Okay. So I know exactly which one she's pointing at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Child,
So I'm gonna cast. How far away is it? Like 100 feet,
Uh,
roughly. Because I want to cast dancing lights. That way we know exactly where to go. I'm just gonna leave it set there.
all right. Yeah, we'll say it's just there, like 110 feet.
Okay.
child, tell me, do these figures ever come close to the house?
And she says, no, they never do.
Good. Good. And I'll walk out.
All right. Philippe and Dominic, you are going to talk to Alistair. And how do you find him, first of all? Because I'm not sure you were given directions as to where he is.
I would have asked in the I would have. Lady Charlotte, where is Alistair's room, and is that where we might find him?
So she says, yes, Alistair is currently sleeping. He spends a lot of nights, as he says, studying, even though he left the academy last year. So please be careful. He may be very ornery when you wake him up.
How old is Alistair?
And she says he is 19 years of age.
Okay. And I just walk off toward his room.
All right.
Right. I follow along. He takes out his crowbar, turning around to give a wink to Archie.
No. Dominic, I'm about 95% sure we are not going to need the crowbar.
But
Put it away.
Archie said,
Dom,
he said,
put it away.
throw it at him.
No, there is no way that is what Archie said. Put the crowbar.
It is.
No, Dom, do you want to put the crowbar away, or do you want to give it to me?
You're gonna use it? Alright. You be bad guard. I'll be good guard.
No, let's just talk to him.
Yeah, bad guard, good guard.
No, he's 19. Just give me the
Exactly.
crowbar. Give me the crowbar.
He's a child.
Just give me the damn crowbar.
So he hands you the crowbar.
I put it in my
Crowbar.
backpack, and I go up and I knock on the door.
All right.
Remember the crowbar.
I forgot that my dog hates knocks at the door.
All right. perfectly fine. So the door opens, and there is a large, a tall, lanky man, young man, with pale skin, slick black hair, and he is wearing a nightgown, and he says, "Why are you bothering me so early, and who are you?"
I am Philippe Leroux, and this is my associate, Dominic. We are here, I guess your mother and your sister have been seeing ghouls or some sort of creatures out in the graveyard at night.
That I told them. I told them several times it's all in their imaginations, that you know the two of them. My mother has always been an imaginative person. She says there's something wrong with my grandmother. I say it's nothing but old age. But she says no, it was too sudden for her to just suddenly shut off like that. But I say no. This happens to people when they get older. This is it's a normal, natural thing.
How old was your grandmother?
It is. She is currently. I want to say 79 years of age. I've never been able to keep track.
What do you mean by shut off?
She does not really respond. She's capable of eating, taking care of herself, but she never talks, never says anything, never mentions anybody.
You're 100% right. That isn't abnormal. When people get to that age, especially humans, they can sometimes just get to the point where they don't really recognize things. They don't take part in conversation, and they do just feed themselves and go on going through the motions. That's quite perceptive of you.
He says, it's not perceptive, it's elementary. It's the kind of thing everyone learns in school. And I'm not talking about the damn academy either.
What do you think might be going on? Because I'm sure your mother, you said, was imaginative, and I'm sure your sister is as well.
It's most likely just the graveyard keepers or some other functionary moving about, making sure that everything's being taken care of. And they're letting their imaginations get the better of them.
I want an insight.
Yes, you may absolutely insight and hear.
Well, it's inside there too.
Yeah, you also can insight as well. Yes, of course. Oh, jeez. Okay, so what did you get for insight?
That'll be a good 24.
And you rolled a nat 20.
You rolled a natural
Yes.
20. All right.
12.
12.
Solid 12.
Okay, but you both can tell that he's concealing something.
Look, Alistair.
So, hold on. I'm gonna look over at Philippe. He's like, I think it's time.
Listen,
He's
Alistair.
hiding something.
He is. Alistair.
Excuse me.
No. Excuse me. You are hiding something. Look, my dwarf friend here, he doesn't have very much patience. I have quite a bit of patience, but you might just want to let us know what it is you're trying to hide.
Excuse me, do you have any idea who you're talking to? I am the heir to the Renholt estate, and you come to my house and accuse me of lying? You ungrateful little wretch.
That sounds mighty crowbar.
I didn't accuse. I said flat out that you're lying.
That is an accusation.
Yeah, go ahead.
That is literally what the word means.
Awesome. So you have a couple of choices here. I unleash my dwarf friend here. Or I do so enjoy doing things myself, but I need to stay away from that for a multitude of reasons. But you could just give us the information we're looking for, Or we can find alternate ways of getting this information.
And he says, or, and he reaches into a pocket of his dressing gown and he pulls out a long, thinned wooden wand. He says, you can leave my house before I'm forced to annihilate you. I have been trained in the academy. I know my fair share of magic. And I am not afraid of some monster hunter, do you think you are? With that union? Vanderhill's all right about you, you know?
I want to kind of like sleight of hand my pistol so that it's like pointed at him, and he doesn't quite know it.
Alright, I am going to need a sleight of hand check opposed by his own perception. Which isn't great, so.
15.
Ooh. He got a 17.
Did he?
Yeah, so as soon as he sees you take out the pistol, he starts chanting something. I'm going to need all three of you to roll initiative.